what's up, Pits? Welcome back to another Cherry Pit episode. We're in season 4 now. Woo! My name is Melody, and I'm back with
Sofia
and Elsa.
So for today, we wanted to talk about misinformation because I actually went to this conference 2 days ago, along with a bunch of other CMNSU members. It was with Timothy Caulfield. Have you guys heard of him?
No.
Probably not. He's a law professor actually, but his area of research, I guess, is to do with misinformation, and it was a very interesting talk, and very relevant to communication, I guess. Before we get into that, I did want to ask you guys a hypothetical question, as I always do. If 10 years from now you are in jail, what do you think you'd be in for?
Okay, yeah. I feel like if I got, potentially if I went to jail, I'd probably go for, something to do with self-defense, because I feel like women get attacked quite often.
That's
so
fair, yeah.
Maybe that's it. That's, a realistic answer. An unrealistic answer, if I stopped caring about, world order and stuff like that, I'd probably shoplift. Maybe shoplifting.
Yeah.
Because, stuff's expensive these days. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, in my early 30s, let's see. If I had kids, I
was thinking, if I was, 30 and I have, a kid, I feel like I would probably be also, shoplifting for, baby powder or something. Because in this economy, I feel like, raising a kid's so expensive. And, I've seen so many videos of, moms, couldn't afford toys for their kids, and then they somehow just maybe take the toy and then they get arrested for that.
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
That or if someone attacks my kid.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, right. If someone were to if there's a weird creepy guy, it's always a weird creepy guy.
Right. Yeah.
But if it was a weird creepy guy, I feel like that's why I would go to jail for protecting my kid.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the most realistic answers are self-defense. For yourself or I guess your kid or whoever.
Loved ones.
Yeah.
Loved ones, yeah. I don't know. I thought this question would be more interesting and you'd be oh, maybe I was trying to border hop or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe if the USA goes crazy these next 4 years.
Well, that'll be on their side though. They'd be coming here.
Yeah,
We're
I
fine.
guess so. Maybe. So for season 4 of Cherry Pit, I wanted to start something called the Chronically Online Corner, where we talk about what's going on social media and fun little news stories and stuff that's not that serious. So it's a little fun, but yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
This week, have we heard about the Brianna Chicken Fry and Zach Bryan drama?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna fill you in.
Please fill us in. Yeah.
Okay, what did you think?
I thought when you brought this up right before we started recording that you were going to talk about the election because
yeah, me too.
It's too serious. It's too heavy.
Okay, fair.
It's too much for it.
Okay, so Brianna Chicken, do we know who they are?
No.
Okay.
Well, I know Zach Bryan.
Yeah, Zach Bryan is a very prominent country singer these days. And Brianna Chicken Fry is she's an yeah.
Is that her actual?
That's her real name?
No, so that's her I think she said it was something her when she was younger she got made fun of for something, and then chicken fries were these fries at a certain fast food restaurant, and so that's her nickname, Brianna Chicken Fry.
Okay.
Her real name's Brianna LaPaglia, I think, or something. Okay. Yeah. So she's an influencer and podcaster. She got signed with Barstool Sports a couple years ago. So she's been podcasting. She podcasts with Dave Portnoy and Josh Richards.
Sure.
We know Dave Portnoy.
No.
He's the founder of Barstool. Okay. And then he's really rich, and Josh Richards is one of those influencers that was part of the Hype House or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Or the Sway Boys in 2020.
Yeah.
And now he's expanded his empire of influencing, I guess.
Okay.
So basically, Zach Bryan and Brianna Chicken Fry started dating a year ago. And Zach Bryan is very well known to be a horrible boyfriend.
Okay.
So when he was younger, he had gotten married to this girl named Rose, and they were together, got married, were together. They were both in the Navy together. And on one of her deployments, he had gotten he left the Navy, and on one of her deployments, he had mailed her divorce papers blindsided her.
Damn.
Mailed her divorce papers.
Whoa. Yeah.
The next girlfriend he had was Deb, and like he always writes all of his love songs are about like his like muses of these women.
Okay.
Who he like apparently treats like garbage, basically.
Yeah.
So then Deb was like, he dated her for a year and a half. They broke up. A month later, he starts getting with Brianna, right? Mm-hmm. And Brianna basically, she was also with this guy before that, and everyone thinks there was like a little bit of crossover between her ex-boyfriend and Zach Bryan. Yeah. But according to her, there wasn't. So basically, they've been together for the past year. Okay. And recently, they had like broken up, but everyone heard about their breakup through Zach Bryan posting on Instagram, being like, I have all the love for Brianna, like blah, 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 la, la, la. And so then she posts a video on her, like literally a couple hours later, she posts a video on her YouTube, and she's like, I've been blindsided. Like he broke up with me over text. Yeah. And then like I told him I needed a week before it went live on social media, and he just did it. Yeah, he did it because people were started seeing his Raya profile like 2 minutes. It's a dating app. Oh yeah. two days after they broke up, he was on Raya, and so now they like he's on Raya, and she is like, so to cover face, he basically like told everyone that they broke up. Yeah. But, like, she had no idea. And it also, like, it takes a minute to set up a Raya profile because it's, like, Raya is, like, more, like, celebrities go on that. Oh, okay. You have to, like, have, like, an account. It takes a few, like, weeks to get, like, established on the account. Okay, sure. And so she texted him, and she was, like you react like you were setting this up, or like you set up your Raya profile, and he's like, well, I didn't set it up, I reactivated it. But basically it did come out that in May, when they were together, he was like texting other girls, and he was telling them to keep it on the download and keep it private, right? Oh, okay. So this was like a week ago, right? Yesterday or 2 days ago on election night, Dave Portnoy and Josh Richards, her podcast co-hosts drop the craziest diss track about this man. Like, I'm not kidding. It is insane. I have to read you like a couple of the lines because so it's crazy. But basically, he so today last night they drop a podcast, and she's basically like, he offered me $12 million of hush money to sign an NDA to basically like sign away her life and like her experience was with him. Damn. This man ended up being like a controlling narcissist. Yeah. Where he basically, one time he told her that she was like singing a lyric from a Morgan Wallen song because it was stuck in her head. Yeah. And they got into a weak fight over the fact that like she can't be listening to other men's music. Wow. And that's like controlling. Exactly. That's Another time they had gotten into a really big argument, and they almost broke up over the fact that she went to the Golden Globes, and she had this dress that she was wearing, and he basically thought it was too revealing. Even though she looked really good. And he's like, I don't want my girlfriend to like do that, blah, blah, blah. So basically, like, she followed him on tour. She did everything for him. And every time she wanted to do something for herself, he like basically turned her down and said she can't do that and blah, blah, blah. Damn. How toxic. I need to read you some of these lyrics from this diss track, if I can find them. See, it's very important.
What are your thoughts on diss tracks in general? We can talk about this after you read.
No, I love them.
Diss tracks are crazy.
Like, diss tracks are crazy.
All I'm thinking about is like the Eminem P. Diddy one right now.
Oh, that's a good one.
That one's so good. Yeah. Anyways, continue.
Okay, so the chorus is trust me, caught your pants on fire. Tinder Bumble Raya knew you was a liar. Like, he basically has like STD accusations because he like cheated. with like a bunch of girls.
Yeah.
So like caught your pants on fire, basically that. And like,
oh, I just thought liar, liar, pants on fire.
No.
Both.
Like STDs.
Double entendre.
Fire, yeah.
Oh my God.
And then like they added a lot of like, he has a song called I Remember Everything. And so one of the lyrics is, you say you remember everything. I guess not, because you forgot about your wedding ring. Ooh. This ain't a subtweet. I ain't coming subliminal. You're great at being country without the second syllable.
Whoa.
Ooh. Yeah. So a lot of it is like very intense like that.
Yeah.
I just thought it was super duper funny about
that. Is quite funny.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that's like the craziest. I suggest watching the YouTube rundown. It's really good. The podcast, fire. But yeah, that's the current drama on the internet right now.
Well, thank you for filling us in.
Of course.
This is actually a really great like segment for me because I don't know. I often don't know the like dramas that are going on unless like somebody fills me in like in person. So this is perfect.
There you go. Yeah. So basically, he's a horrible person. Everybody unfollow him on social media.
Amazing.
That's great.
Is that why? Okay, that this all makes sense because for a while I was seeing. I guess he came like not that long ago here to do a concert or something.
He's coming next week.
Or coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was seeing like for a long time on Facebook Marketplace people selling their tickets.
Oh,
so this makes sense.
Yeah. He's
it's
just
all
like
adding up.
he's a bad person. Do you know? I know you probably don't. Miss Peaches, who's
No.
Dave Portnoy's dog.
No.
She's like a really cute rescue dog, right? Mm-hmm. And like one of the really like this really shows how much of an awful person he is. He kicked this poor rescue dog out of no he didn't kick it. He like kicked her out of his dressing room.
Damn.
Because she was like chilling on the couch in his dressing room and he moved her into this like small electrical closet.
Damn.
This poor dog.
That's crazy.
This man is a horrible person. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, thank you for joining the Chronically Online Corner. I'll be back next week.
This is perfect. Okay, well, I mean, this kind of ties into our segment.
Yeah,
our episode today, Misinformation. I don't know. I feel like a lot of stories like this sometimes, like, not to say that this one isn't true, but like there's been many that like haven't been true. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 Did you want to talk about your blog about misinformation?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
I'm writing. I work for a segment at SFU called SFU Public Square.
Oh, yes.
And so I write blogs for them. And I'm writing a blog about misinformation because we're doing an event at Science World for the misinformation and the drug overdose.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm currently writing like an informational piece if people don't know what misinformation is. But I feel like I've been surrounded by misinformation because in the summer I took a class on misinformation with Ahmed Al-Rawi, the professor. He's really good. And then I am currently taking one on news and politics, which talks a lot about misinformation.
Of course.
So I just feel like I'm just surrounded by it.
Yeah.
But if anyone knows, misinformation is the spreading of false information, but not intentionally. Disinformation is the intentional spread of false information.
Yes, I learned this recently as well at the conference.
Very, very different. Very different. But how was the conference? What were your takeaways?
It was very good. If I'm being honest, I like went into it thinking it was going to be like a very like jargon heavy, like boring communication-esque like lecture type thing, you know? But it really wasn't. Like, he was much more digestible, like the kinds of things that he was saying. And yeah, he was being interviewed by the director of the library, like in West Van or something. I don't know exactly. But yeah, it was a very interesting piece. The demographic was very interesting. Like, I think we were all just taken aback because it was just like me and the other CMNSU members that were around our age.
Yeah.
Everyone else was kind of let's say above like 45 years old, you know.
Of course.
But yeah, very, very interesting. There was protesters outside.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I know, like that really took me back as well. They were, I guess, like protesting because he's got this medal now, and like maybe I shouldn't leave this in because I don't know enough to like say about it. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting. He made a lot of like very interesting points about like how misinformation affects like families. So like for example, I'm sure you guys have experienced this too, but like our parents are more hesitant sometimes about like, you know, letting us out late at night, or like letting their younger kids like walk to school, like stuff like that. But he was like, the fact is that there's less crime actually going on now than there was like back when like they were kids. And it's just because like they're seeing a lot about it, or they're like seeing misinformation about it online, that, you know, they'll be like afraid for their children. Right? I don't know, what do you guys think about that?
That's pretty true. I feel like a lot of like older generations, like grandmas, grandpas, like they get very like, they trust the internet so seriously. So that's crazy. Like they'll believe like the walking home at night. Like I feel like older generations still probably get misinformation.
I feel like it's kind of hard. It's like, I don't know, it's just especially hard because I take everything on the internet with like a very grain of salt.
Right.
Especially like since I started learning about misinformation and stuff like that. Like it's just really hard to believe anything. Like a lot of the time, I know right now there's a lot of like assumptions on like which influencers voted for who in America and stuff like that. And it's like, and everyone's like, I'm unfollowing this person because of this, and I'm like, how did you see them circle the name on the ballot? Some people just don't want to talk about their election, and I get it. It's a very big deal. Like it's a very big deal. It's like a moral thing on who you voted for in America right now. But like, do they owe you that? Do you know who they voted? Like,
no, it's supposed to be like, like voting is such a confidential thing, I feel like, and they've, I guess, like made it out to be confidential. But especially in the US, and then now I've noticed like in Canada too, in the more recent years, it's like it's become such a thing where you're supposed to identify yourself as one or the other. You know what I mean? Or else it's like
being a moderate is like literally non-existent these
days. Or just like not saying your stance is also like taken
very true
as a bad thing, you know? Like you're automatically seen as like whatever side the person who you're talking to is against. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like it's interesting because I learned about the term like fake news and stuff like that. It was literally like after the 2016 election or during and after, like it was like the use of the word went crazy. Like it's specifically associated with Donald Trump because he said it so much. He popularized the term. Like you can see in studies, it's like insane. But I just like, I don't know, it's just very much weird to me to like force somebody to tell you who they voted. Or it's weird to me that like we're at this point where like it just means like
so much.
I don't even know. Like it feels very wrong to just assume who someone voted for. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Not saying anything. I would vote for the Democrats, but I'm Canadian, so I can't. But I'm just saying, I feel like it's weird. I don't know.
I agree. I think it's weird. It's also just like, I feel like everyone's so divided. Like you can see it online too. And it's like, they're just picking sides for the certain reasons that they're seeing online rather than like the actual stances of the parties a lot of the time. You know what I mean? Like even here in Canada, but
you know what's interesting? I felt like, I don't know if you guys felt it, but on the internet, it truly felt to me like Kamala Harris was gonna win.
True.
You know, what's it called when you're in that bubble of like, it's like a reoccurring cycle of some sort where like people like they're posting it so much to where you're like, obviously, like I was like, obviously she's gonna win. Like if this many people are endorsing her and this many people are doing this and this and this, but like
it's your algorithm.
No, it literally is my algorithm, and I fell for it. I fully thought she was gonna win, so I was like, what? How did he win? And then I like expanded my eyes and I was like, oh, because of this and this and this and this. And it's like obviously I wasn't on the same internet as the people who are in the red states in like the country towns, you know what I mean?
No, exactly.
So
that's always so interesting to me to think about. Like our social media pages could be drastically different, like you know, and they might not even be seeing the like positive sides of the Democrats, you know what 100%. I mean? Like someone who's a Republican, like all they're seeing might be like the positive sides of Trump or whatever.
That's like the perfect like end to like the misinformation line and how it trickles down, and
totally
it's like that's where you get to a point where you can't even see anything else.
It's
just, I mean, it's crazy to me that these people don't think that they don't think he's a convicted felon. They're like, no, he's not. It's like he was in the court,
right,
and the jury found him guilty.
Yeah,
literally.
That's how it works.
With misinformation, I feel like there's layers to it, right? Like, if you're aware that misinformation exists, you can always be like, oh, this thing about him being a convicted felon is just misinformation. Yeah. Right? Like, I think there's a very easy way for others to like turn that against like another narrative, right?
100%.
Change it up.
Fake news.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Right. Like, for all we know, everything is fake news. Like,
true.
You have no idea.
Yeah. It's like, you should do your research, but like, you have to do your research on a specific news website, because a certain news website has bias and this other news website doesn't have bias, but maybe they do. And it's like, you can't, like, it's hard because like journalists obviously have personal opinions.
Of course.
Like, it's really hard not to like include your personal opinions into anything you write.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
I was doing yesterday we were doing these like things in my class that they're called news journals, and you have to like compare one news website to another news website who posted like a similar article. And like I found one that it's called I forget. It's like it's a very left-wing website, and the other one's a very right-wing website. And I was looking at how they had presented like the end, or they had presented the
other side,
they had presented the winning of Donald Trump in the election.
Oh yeah.
And the one on the left wing was titled like "Staring Down the Trumpian Abyss" or something like that. Very scary, low-key, like fear-mongering. Like I am personally more left-wing in my beliefs, but like it was like a little over the top. Like they were using very scary words like tyranny and horror, and like it was just a little too much for me. And like the subtitle was, we are about to be in for a long period of suffering in American global politics at the hands of a deranged reactionary president who will be up against little in the way of an opposition party. And a lot of it, I mean, a lot of the article was like kind of putting down the Democrats for their like campaign and how badly they did, but it was also just like kind of scary. But then on the other side, there was the Republican news website it was called "Will Democrats Ever Learn? The message and the messenger were both flawed in a now familiar ways." And the entire thing, like they used the word Russiagate and like fascist, and like of course they talked about George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter protests. Like somehow it's always, and they like made Trump seem like they were like, Trump was like, the Democrats think that Trump is Hitler, but like obviously he's not. And it's like that was like the whole tone of the article. So both of the sides were like so incredibly like biased, and it was like y'all need to mediate. Like it should not be this biased on either side. Like I don't know, it was crazy reading it.
No, it's crazy to think about. I think it all, and like this is something that was mentioned in the conference too, but like it totally helps the nation on a large scale if like media literacy is taught early on in schools, like early on, you know, like for kids as young as age 4 is what Timothy was saying.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, because like it is true that right now literally everyone is like surrounded by like social media, and like not just social media, but, you know, like advertising and like stuff like that.
Everything just has so much bias.
Exactly. Everything has so much bias, and everyone is surrounded by it constantly.
Yeah.
So, and I totally agree. It's like, I think it's very important to teach young kids media literacy from a very young age. Yeah. The other thing that I was like thinking about the other day is it might be a good idea to have some sort of media literacy or like misinformation course for immigrants, like people who come into a new country, because like obviously it's not something that's like feasible for all countries in the world to teach or like have. But yeah,
I think that it's just really hard. It's also like hard when like my parents fall for it so often. Like it's really frustrating. Like I don't know, but like it's like trying to explain like misinformation and like why what they're reading is wrong is so challenging. But they're like, totally, but this person said very trustworthy source. I'm like, no one's trustworthy.
Right, yeah.
No one who intentionally chooses to be a part of like journalism on either side is completely trustworthy.
Of course, yeah.
And it's not even like, it's honestly human nature to have opinions on things. Like obviously everybody has opinions on things. So like why are you expecting, like you have to do your own research.
Of course, yeah. And then there's like, I think the other factor for like older generations is that they trusted like news outlets that they watched or like read when they were younger or whatever, and then now they don't realize like just how biased they may be. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like a news source. It's a news source, so you would expect, you know, it to be less biased or to be more trustworthy. But
it's also interesting, I think, that the kind of concept that you're from people like not stopping, like they're not trusting mainstream media as much, so now they're like turning to the like these like very intensive like alternative news medias where it's like they're on either side and they're like we're presenting you the truth and you don't want this, but it's like they're probably some of the most biased, so it's like so frustrating to see. I don't know, the word truth just shouldn't be in news ever.
No, I agree. I just find it like interesting to think about how the world, I mean, we've talked about this many a times on this podcast, but like how is the world going to be in the next like few decades when we're like the adults, you know, like our generation is the adults, because it seems that we have like a better gauge of it just because we've like grown up with like knowing about media literacy and like misinformation and like being surrounded by it so much. But maybe that's my own bubble. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
I think a lot of the time I get stuck in that kind of bubble where it's like my generation is better, but my generation also believes Andrew Tate is a good person. So,
oh god,
I don't really know.
I know, like, it could just be our bubble of people, right? Because like I've come across a lot of people our age that like have similar opinions or like have similar, you know, like views on social media and like on technology and cell phones. But maybe that's just because everyone I've come across is like here in the school of communication.
But even like, you know, even in our like in my news and politics class, oh my god, there's like, we were talking about climate change and there was like 3 people in my class who didn't believe that climate change was a big deal.
And
I was like, oh my god, that was really eye-opening to me. I was like, maybe
we're not all the same.
maybe we're different. Like, I don't even know. But yeah, misinformation is just really scary, and I try not to like. I very much try not to believe what I see on the internet. But it's kind of hard, you know. Sometimes you're like, oh, that makes so much sense, and then like 2 weeks later, it's like, oh, none of that was correct.
Right.
So I don't even know.
True.
Speaking of misinformation, you guys know about like, I mean, everyone knows about flat earthers, right?
Yeah.
I remember years and years ago, I like looked it up and like tried to do some research about it or whatever and just like see, because it was so flabbergasting to me to think like how could people believe, you know, that the world is flat, right?
Oh my.
But like honestly, like I must say, if you go into their website, I'm trying to find like the exact website now, they like the kinds of arguments that they'll make sound scientific almost. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's, I don't know. I feel like this is
like how they sound like they're experts.
It's literally all about the framing of it, and it's like
it's just their confidence in it. It's like so.
Their confidence.
I'm confident in this.
No, exactly. Like I don't know. It just made me like rethink a lot of things because it's like when things are presented to you in this way, and like especially if they're presented to you in this way from when you're young, or like from your parents, you know what I mean, like from people who you trust, it's like why wouldn't you believe it? You know what I mean?
No, it's super interesting. Like I feel like it's weird to see kids who like grow up in something and then come out of it, or like kids who like have been in the same situation all the time and just like believe these things because their parents believe it.
Totally, yeah.
Which is crazy. But like I remember like when I was 12, my parents sent me to like Christian camp. And like I didn't really grow up specifically like my family's Orthodox Christian because of our like ethnicity. Like it's not because of like
their beliefs.
Exactly. Like my parents were always like more like leaning agnostic our whole lives.
Yeah.
So like I go to Christian camp after like not being like religious at all.
Yeah.
And like it's a week-long sleeping camp where like every day you wake up, it's like super fun. Like I'm gonna say like we had zip lines, water sports, like everything. Super fun, right?
Yeah.
But every day you pray before meals and you read the Bible and you do this and this and this. One year, like I went for 4 years. The first year was like nothing, right? The next year I come home and I am like converted Christian. I have given my life to Jesus. Like I was like, Mom, I believe in Jesus Christ. Like I've given my life to him, blah, blah, blah. And my mom was like, what?
She's like, what happened?
She's like, literally what happened like in a week. And then like literally 5 days later, I gave up on that basically. So I think that it's like, and this is no hate to Christians at all.
Right, yeah.
Believe whatever you want to believe. This is just how I was raised. But like, I think that a lot of the time, that's just like it's very interesting to see how moldable kids' brains are.
Totally.
So like if we're giving our kids phones at like 10, and they're seeing all of this on the internet, like there's obviously going to be kids who believe Andrew Tate and like believe what they like see on the internet. So it's just I feel like it's crazy that we don't have like media literacy classes in like elementary schools at this point.
100%.
So I don't even know.
Yeah, I guess like now like. Because like kids like in schools and everything like they're banning the phones, so
I've heard about this.
Period.
So which is like getting better, but that doesn't mean like they're gonna like learn about like media literacy or anything just because they banned the phones from schools. Like kids at home, they're still gonna like
I think the at schools banning phones at schools is just better for like focusing like not good for teaching kids anything.
That's true,
because if anything it just like makes kids want to be on their phones more.
I was just gonna mention that like
they'll sneak in their phone in class.
No, exactly. and it's like, I mean, my sister's in high school right now. She's in grade 12, so it's like she's a little bit later in the like educational life or whatever, but like even she was saying, she's like, oh, it's like it's not fair, you know, it's not right. Like what if there's emergencies? Like that was her thing. Even my mom was like, yeah, like I want her to be able to call me. Like, where are their phones? Like, are they going to take them away? You know, like what's the...
true. And this is the same thing as what you were talking about before, is like people who don't let their kids walk and people who like, it's like...
Right.
This like, if there's an emergency, you go to the office and the office calls your emergency contact.
No, literally, like, I was telling my mom, I was like, what did you do when you were a kid? Like, what was there was protocols then, I'm sure, you know, like, what about me when I was a kid? Like, we didn't have...
We go to the office.
We would go to the office.
Emergency.
We didn't all have cell phones. Like, it wasn't a popular thing to have a smartphone, or let alone any cell phone, until I was in about, like, I want to say grade 7, grade 8, which is pretty, like, late. You know what I mean? So my entire, like, elementary school life, like, nobody had cell phones on them in school.
And everyone was just, like, I remember a couple times when I got sick, and, like, I'd go to the principal's office, there was a bed I could lay in, they would call my parents.
Right.
They would call my parents, my parents would come pick me up.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the end of the world. I get it.
Yeah.
I do more understand that argument for people who live in America with school shootings and everything.
Totally, yeah.
I do understand that more, but we live in Canada.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen here.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I don't know why I want to jinx it, but I feel like I don't think you need your phones, really. And, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I just think it's, like, a different mindset, right? But I completely, now that there has been phones, I understand the argument of, like, it's hard to take them away because it'll make the kids have a different, you know, like, mindset about the authority figures, like, in the school, right? They're like, these people are taking away something I really like.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, even my parents are, like, worried about my safety now.
So
like,
why are you taking them away? Because I want them back.
And so they're just going to be frustrated or, like, finding ways to rebel against it,
well,
you know,
as
phones,
teenagers. But it's not like laptops, because laptops is for school.
Yeah, but also what laptops, dude?
Yeah, what
Yeah.
high schoolers. I mean, maybe grade 12
laptops now.
That's
but
crazy.
Because like because we
Not
had
the
everything
binders.
on paper, right?
Yeah.
But they just use laptops the same way we do in university now. Like they didn't have laptops in university back in the day.
That's
either.
weird.
You know, like everything was on paper.
Yeah, I guess.
But-
I mean, I think everything changed after COVID when like they started introducing like Microsoft Teams and stuff like that into high schools.
Right.
So I feel like or Google Classrooms, but also that just doesn't matter. Like they don't get the experience of like lugging those like 12-pound like binders. Do you remember how heavy those were? Oh my god!
I had a system.
Day 1, day 2.
Yeah, well, I had day one, day
day
two.
two.
But my system was like I would keep my textbooks in my locker and my like binder, like big binders in my locker, and I had a homework folder. So like it was a tiny little folder that I would just put in the pages necessary for the day.
Smart.
And then I would take that home and like, you know, replace stuff when I got to my locker at school. But apparently people don't use their lockers
Those
anymore.
were the days.
No, lockers like no. Yeah.
Aren't a thing.
I remember. Yeah, I think after COVID, like lockers. I don't know if they got the lockers back now or not, but I had it from grade 8 to 11, and then COVID happened. So.
Well, no, they have like they have lockers like
They
the
just
same-
don't
why
use
won't
it.
they
They
use it?
I
It's like they have so
don't
much
even know.
stuff to bring to school. Like they have their lunch, they have their gym equipment, they have like their
also,
textbooks, blah, 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 blah,
I would
blah.
keep shoes in there in the
Right,
winter, like you know when you
boots,
like when you wore
umbrellas.
boots. Totally,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
I loved my locker. I wish we had
Lockers,
lockers
everything.
here.
Yeah, no, I wish we did too.
I feel like we do have lockers here.
There
We
are
do.
lockers, but no one uses them.
You have
That's
to
so
rent
sad.
them.
No
have to
way.
pay for them. Yeah.
Nah.
Oh my God.
And like in general, I feel like we just don't carry as many things to university.
Yeah.
Like as I was carrying in high school for whatever reason.
We don't
Maybe
have
it's because of all the paper.
I remember how many people like
Yeah.
had like those like snacks in their they're like I had so many people
Yeah,
who would like
yeah.
sell snacks out of their lockers. It's like cheaper than the vending machine. I'm like, oh my god.
That's
Or
so
people
funny.
like decorate the lockers for birthdays. Like
Yeah,
that was such
that
a
was so
time.
That was
cute.
really
like
sweet,
that's the
actually.
cute part. But I guess
Yeah.
like other than that, high schoolers don't really use it for anything else.
I guess
Oh,
so.
lockergrams. Like lockergrams was a thing in high school.
Lockergrams?
Have you guys done lockergrams before?
Please
No?
explain.
Oh my god! Like my high school was like, oh, during Christmas, like we would like wrap the lockers and
Okay.
like what, like oh my god, wrapping paper.
Yes, yeah.
And then it would be like a gift for them, like during Christmas time or like during Valentine's Day.
Oh.
They'll like stick stuff into the lockers, like little cute
That's
like,
really
candies.
cute.
But
Yeah.
that was like a thing like before
Yeah.
COVID. I don't know if like now they're gonna do anything.
Probably
I feel
not.
like I
Probably
remember
not.
something
Which
like
is so
this.
sad.
Yeah, it is really sad.
Like-
We had like I don't think people did lockergrams when I was in high school, but I do
No.
remember like wrapping the
Yeah,
wrapping paper
for,
thing
like,
for Christmas
birthdays
and
or-
stuff.
yeah.
For birthdays for sure, like people would decorate their
Yeah.
friend's locker, you
Which
know,
is so cute.
which was really cute. I don't think I ever got mine decorated because
Mine too.
my birthday falls on Victoria Day in May.
Oh.
Like it's always on the weekend or like on the Monday, which is off. So like they
Oh
wouldn't.
yeah, your birthday's close to mine, is it not?
I think so. May 22nd.
26th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's in July, so like it's summer
So no,
school.
yeah.
Summer school time.
Yeah, I always got the very end of like before summer break.
Yeah.
I was really happy. I hated all my friends in the summer were like, I want my locker decorated.
Yeah. But we used to have like roses. Did you guys get that? Like
Yeah.
roses for Valentine's
But
Day?
then
and
they'll
stuff?
go to the classrooms to sing
Yes,
it with
yeah.
choirs. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, we did that very rarely. I went to a really like ratchet school. So
No
maybe-
social activity.
No, so-
Yeah.
no, yeah, the social activities I realized were like dying as I grew older too. Like the school just wasn't as preppy.
Yeah.
When I first like started in grade 8, it was so preppy. But I think it totally like depends on the senior class.
Oh,
you know,
100%,
like how
definitely.
preppy are they?
Yeah.
But
Do you mean peppy?
peppy is what I'm gonna say.
Aw.
Not preppy. I did not go to a prep school. But the rose thing, it was like I think it was people from choir who were doing choir.
Yeah.
They would go around the school like when classes were going
Yeah.
on, and they had like a bunch of roses, and then you could like
sing to the person.
yes, like
hey.
you would purchase it at lunch or something.
Yeah.
You would purchase a single rose for someone who they could deliver to anonymously, or you could put your name on it, or you could purchase a song for like a certain person, and they would sing, like the choir would
That's so fun.
it was so funny.
Did
but
you ever
also,
get one?
No.
I bought myself mine. Oh my god. But yeah, I could see that. Like
Yeah.
in high school, like because like in senior year I did like student council for it, and then I feel like that was like because it was COVID, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
So at that year I literally see like all the changes for social activities.
Yeah.
Because I was like the principal and the whole school just like decides not to do anything. They're like,
Right.
and then they don't give you like money, right? They don't give you like a budget or like fundraising. So I feel like schools now, they kind of stop like either fundraising or like whatever budgets for any activities, which is like so sad because like now like how are high schoolers gonna like interact like in person, because everything's gonna convert to like digitally.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think they're starting to get stuff like that back and like going,
they're trying to,
because the kids are like missing it, obviously. Like that's gonna happen at some point, especially when you watch, like, I guess that's the positive of like media and stuff, is that we can look back in time so easily. But like when you watch like movies and TV shows of like these high schools that had all these events, right, like back in the day, I'm sure the kids like will want to do stuff like that, right?
True. No, my favorite thing is on TikTok when they're like, class of 2014, and then it's like a montage of like, I've seen like 2016, 2017, and I was like, no way you are fantasizing 2016, 2017 high school. That's crazy. I was like, I'm having a breakdown. I'm going to like literally like, what are you talking? I'm 21 years old. What are you talking about? Like, oh my god.
2016 is crazy. I've seen like the ones from the 90s, which is
like they're doing 2016, 2017 high school. I saw 2018, and I was like,
that was like not long.
What are you talking about?
I was like, 2018 is like they are still in university, a lot of them probably.
Yeah. Like, I mean, all of us were in high school in 2018.
Yeah.
So I don't even know, like, in 2016, I don't know. I'm like,
crazy.
Well, I just know that nobody's going to be fantasizing about my high school
about
graduation.
2020.
Mine too.
Yeah.
No one's fantasizing about that. So maybe I'll never get to feel that old.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess that's a good note, a positive note to wrap on. Did you guys have any other, like, any concluding thoughts on misinformation?
Google, research, don't listen to what?
Research.
Take everything for a grain of salt.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, take everything with a grain of salt. Look at multiple different sources.
Yes.
Because one is just not going to cut it, even if it seems trustworthy. Just don't trust anyone, honestly.
For real.
That's my
For real. Fact.
Yeah.
Facts. Thank you guys so much for tuning into season 4 of Cherry Pit. If you guys are interested in learning more about us, check out our website, CMNSU.com. Our previous episode, the debut of season 4, was our very exciting Evolve episode, where we had Sofia interviewing a bunch of our attendees and some of the speakers as well. So we actually filmed that episode, which is very exciting. Go watch it on our YouTube page, SFU CMNSU. And yeah, did I plug everything? Instagram. Follow us on Instagram at CMNSU. We update all sorts of things about Cherry Pit and other events that are going on. So that's a good place to follow us. And yeah.
Yep.
Thank you guys. Love you, Pit.
Thank you. Bye.